Welcome to the show. Come take a seat. Weird objects appear.
Hey, welcome back. It's Greg. So this is part 4 of my comic book journey, rediscovering my old comic books. This is Captain Canuck episode. I found my run of Captain Canucks. I remember buying these when I was a kid, and I remember I couldn't get issue number 2. Turns out issue number 2 was, I guess, half of them got burned up in a fire or something. That was the story, at least. And so I go from Captain Canuck number 1 to number 3 here. Here's issue number 2. I'll show a picture of it, even though I don't have it. When I was out looking for this picture of number 2, I bumped into a whole bunch of new information, and obviously it's been 40 years since I collected these. I love this. Used to be able to send away for Captain Canuck visors. What I wouldn't give to wear one of those to a comic show. That would be hilarious. Anyway, lots of trouble with Canadian comic books. After World War II, they passed a law that no comic books were allowed to be imported. And so there were no comic books being produced in Canada, really. So in this, I guess, 1971 or 2, a couple guys got together, Richard Comley and I forget the other guy's name, Liebman maybe, the guy who originally drew this cartoon of Captain Canuck. He created the character, but then kind of wasn't involved after that. Anyway, they weren't allowed to have comic books imported, so these were all the first Canadian comic book superhero character, kind of, and it was expensive to produce. They didn't really have a distribution system up there for comics because it had all fallen apart after the war. So kind of an underdog story, kind of a makeshift comic book character in general, Captain Canuck. But surprisingly, in researching this, kept coming back every 10 years or so, that Richard Comley would attempt to reintroduce this intellectual property or try to get another Captain Canuck thing going. You guys probably know more than I do. If you're 25 to 45 years old, you probably remember the subsequent iterations of Captain Canuck. Anyway, I had a subscription. I think these came in the mail over the summer in 1980. And then I just ended up getting more into Marvel and stuff like that. Anyway, covers are sort of nostalgic. George Freeman, I think, is the artist on most of these. Not sure what he went on to do, but wow. Long voiceover. The original Captain Canuck comic book was created by Ron Leishman and Richard Comley. The character first appeared in Captain Canuck number 1, published by Comley Comics in July 1975. The series was notable for being the first successful Canadian comic book since World War II. Captain Canuck, whose real name is Tom Evans, is a Canadian secret agent who gains superhuman strength from contact with extraterrestrials. The comic initially ran for 3 issues before going on hiatus in 1976. It returned 3 years later in 1979 with CKR Productions back... Hey, I'm recording here, Cookie. With CKR Productions backing the publication, and continued until early 1981. Over the past 50 years, Captain Canuck has seen several new incarnations and attempts to reintroduce the character. These include Captain Canuck Reborn, 2004, Captain Canuck Unholy War, also known as West Coast Canuck, and Captain Canuck Legacy in 2012. Richard Comley partnered with Fadi Hakim to relaunch a modern version of Captain Canuck, which included an animated series that aired between 2013 and 2014. In total, there have been 4 incarnations of Captain Canuck, with numerous attempts to revive and update the character. The character has also been honored with a Canadian postage stamp in 1995, which I think is probably the biggest achievement of Captain Canuck. God, who's Nelvana? I thought those stamps were pretty cool. Now I feel like I need to go find those. Anyway, here's issue 15. This was released in 2004, sort of because they'd finished it back in 1980 and they just never published it. Does anyone remember Captain Canuck? Am I the only one? Was it regional? Was it Michigan and like stuff close to Canada only? Or did anyone watch all the new incarnations? I was in media and I never even remember hearing about any new incarnations of Captain Canuck. Let me know down in the comments if you have any information or you remember the anime series or anything. I'd be interested if it's worth looking into or not. Hey, you almost made it to the end. Thanks for watching and commenting. Leave a like if you like it. There's more comic content coming. I'm only in box 1 of 10, so thanks for indulging me on my look back at Captain Canuck. Kind of obscure, but I'm interested to know if anyone else has any.
It works just like a telephone switchboard.